If you like goals, you're in the right place. The highest scoring team in USL, New York Red Bulls 2, look to get back on the field with a bang as they host North Carolina FC coming up on ESPN+. I had to. New York Red Bulls 2 sitting in the last place in the USL Eastern Conference playoffs, hosting North Carolina FC for the first time ever as these two teams face off at MSU Soccer Park. David Goss alongside Hunter Freeman for this one, and Hunter for New York Red Bulls 2. It's just nice to get back out on the field.
Yeah, it's been 10 days since they last played a match, and a little bit of a bad taste in their mouth off that defeat here at home to Louisville in a crazy game, 6-4. So definitely going to be trying to right the ship tonight against North Carolina FC.
On the flip side, North Carolina FC had 6-game unbeaten run, broken against Indy 11 on the road. This is the last game of this away stand for them.
Yeah, and this game's even more pivotal for them because it's really a 6-point game. It's a conference game. They're 5 points back of Red Bull with just with a game in hand, so they have some room to climb, and this is a key game for them.
And the man that's going to lead them, Kyle Becker, leading the league and the team in assists.
Yeah, he came across from San Francisco. He's been probably their most influential player. 10 assists, tied in the USL. Look for the play and the creativity to come through him tonight.
Going to be in central midfield with a few partners, and we'll look at the starting lineup in just a moment. On the flip side, the assist man for New York Red Bulls 2, Jared Stroud, who's slowly been building throughout the season.
Yeah, I mean, talk about a guy who's really just had a steady climb from the beginning to now, and he's added playing time. He's now added assists. He's sprinkled in a few goals as well, so a key contributor for this New York Red Bulls 2 team.
Stroud's going to look to lead and attack with a few different faces. Only 5 players on the bench for New York Red Bulls 2, Hunter, so a tough one for this team.
Yeah, but some of those faces that are on their bench are usually in the starting lineup, so they have a great mix. We'll get to see a Bang back with the club today, see what he has to offer. Been off for a while, hasn't played a game since, I think you said May, so some rust there, but he can definitely put some goals in the net.
Amtola Bong back with New York Red Bulls for the first time in 2 years. We'll be back with their first half action here on ESPN+.
With MSG Go, the game goes where you go. So you can watch live Red Bulls games anywhere you want. It's free and easy because if you get MSG, you get MSG Go. Watch your favorite team wherever you are with MSG Go, presented by Lexus. Download it for free where you get your apps.
One of the nation's leading heart programs. A shared sense of compassion, innovation, and expertise. Perfectly orchestrated so your world never misses a beat. Hackensack Meridian Health. Life years ahead.
Back at MSU Soccer Park, a nice and cool 74 degrees tonight as the heat finally starts to break in the New York, New Jersey area. David Goss and Hunter Freeman on the call for you. Let's take a look at the starting lineups for these two teams. You look at North Carolina FC first. Daniel Rios up top, leading the league in goals on loan from Chivas. We mentioned the man setting him up, Kyle Becker. And then inexperienced backline, Aaron Guillen, Michael Harrington, Connor Tobin, and DJ Taylor in front of Alex Tambakis.
Yeah, Connor Tobin, the captain of this team, he's been with Colin Clark for, well, I don't even know how many years. So he's going to be very well of the system that they want to play today.
You look for New York Red Bulls, too. We mentioned it. Anatola Bong back with New York Red Bulls about 3 weeks ago. He gets his first start in over 2 years for New York Red Bulls, too. Jose Aguinaga opposite Jared Stroud, filling in for the injured Armando Moreno, and Fidel Escobar getting some minutes at center back alongside Hassan Endam. Coach Wolenek there, 10 days off. A lot to deal with for this coach, especially for a team that had a lot of games in a short amount of time.
Yeah, they did have a lot of games. I think he gave the players a little bit of a break, too, in that 10 days. So as a coach, that's like a double-edged sword. You want to give the players some time to get away, refresh, but you don't want them gone too long before they're back playing a big-time match.
And you mentioned it, Colin Clark. He's been with this club for 7 years, the longest tenured coach in North Carolina history. Yeah,
someone I know very well. Actually allowed me to train when I was with the under-17s with his team, FC Dallas Burns. So a guy I've known for a long time, and like you said, has been in the North Carolina FC setup for a long time now.
And we are kicked off here. The first time ever New York Red Bulls 2 face off against North Carolina FC. Your head referee for this one, Jose Lara. Assistant referees, Tyler Rostek, Enzino Cho, and Joshua Encarnacion. Our fourth official here on the turf at MSU Soccer Park. New York Red Bulls 2 currently sitting in the final playoff spot, tied on points. 35 points in 8th place with a game in hand against the Ottawa Fury. Nashville FC right behind them. And as Hunter mentioned off the top, this is a 6-pointer between these two teams as they sit just 2 spots away in the standings. They will face off for the second time at WakeMed Soccer Park, one of the great soccer-specific stadiums in the U.S. later this season in October. Hunter, you played against, at the time, the Carolina Railhawks, North Carolina FC, a number of times in NASL. What should fans expect from this North Carolina team from a Colin Clark squad?
Yeah, I mean, it's a team that they like to make the field big. They like to spread their back four out, try to play on the deck as much as possible. So I look really for that press that we know from Red Bull so well. See how that matches up against that back four and how they've trying to build out of the back. Do they still try to do that, or do they maybe try to play more direct, especially in these first 10, 15 minutes?
Abong gets his first touch on the ball, now chasing. For the second time already, Tambakis out of his goal. Alex Tambakis, the first ever signing in Atlanta United history. Spent some time on loan with the Charleston Battery before Atlanta came into MLS. And then joined Sporting KC last year before coming to North Carolina this season. Has played the bulk of the minutes for this team in goal.
And one thing to note here early on, you'll notice North Carolina FC is picking up their line of pressure just at the top of the circle.
Stroud now gets a cross away. He puts it too far. Tenari tries to chase it down. He's able to keep it in play. And now Aguinaga trying to go to work. Turned over, and Becker plays the first ball back out. Endom stepping through that one. Good one-touch pass from Stroud. Tenari again with some space, looking for the head of Abong. It goes over him. And Stroud runs it down on the edge of the box. Stroud cuts this one to the top of the 6, and it's cleared away by Michael Harrington. Very experienced pickup this year for North Carolina, coming off what has been a long MLS career, as well as a U.S. Youth International, a top draft pick at a UNC.
Yeah, and he's making that natural transition as you age a little bit from the outside back position, finding himself slotted inside now, more as a central defender.
Battle here between Tobin and Abong. Quickly taken by New York. Stroud trying to find some space. Looks to get Yanez in on the far post. It stays alive. Looked like for a second the North Carolina defense gave up on that one. And Deleuze will let that one run. Austin Deleuze out of Wake Forest. Drafted by New York Red Bulls too, to begin his professional career.
Yeah, it looked like there's Kenziora tracking the runner, and I think he just thought the ball was going to skip out. And sure enough, it's a turf. You never know. Sometimes it'll skip, sometimes it'll check up, and that ball checked up and Fortunately for NCFC, the Red Bull 2 didn't become very dangerous, but definitely switched off there for a second and almost cost them.
Aginaga blocks that one. He can't keep it in. North Carolina FC, I mentioned on the end of a nice little road trip for them. A 2-0 win at Tampa Bay, followed by a 3-2 loss at Indy 11. They went down early in that one, Hunter, 2-0 in the first half, giving up a fifth-minute goal. They fought back to 2-2 before giving up an 89th-minute winner. Cross played in and onto the hands of Evan Loro.
Yeah, but that's the type of result that can that really breaks you. You know, when you fall down early, you have good character, you come back, you fight, you get yourself back on a result on an away match, and then to give it all away at the last kick. There's no worse feeling going into the locker room after a game than that.
Long ball played over the top. Tobin heads it away. If you're at North Carolina, there is no way you predict a guy like Anatole Bong is going to be in this game. He hasn't played in 2 years. As a player, do you adjust when you see a lineup and a player that you haven't prepared for?
Well, I don't know that you say maybe you weren't prepared, but obviously you know that the club's brought him back from his loan stint. And one thing that this Red Bull organization does extremely well is they use both teams, right? So here's a guy who's come on loan, back from loan. He hasn't played a game in a couple months. What's he need? He needs game fitness. He needs minutes. And while he's been here training for almost a month now, you know, there's nothing like playing in a match and that game sharpness that you can get. So obviously they're trying to make decisions on what his future will hold. And so I'm sure Colin Clark in the back of his head thought there might be a chance, but you gotta. I mean, that's why you're coach. You gotta prepare your team for anything and everything. And obviously, when they saw the roster when they got here to the match, then they still have some time to make some adjustments. But I don't think much will be adjusted in their formation. It's just more of being aware of, okay, look, this is a physical specimen up top, a guy that has some experience as well. So let's be aware.
He's scored 8 goals in 14 appearances in USL. Scored 5 goals in 17 appearances in 2015 in his Major League Soccer debut, including one in the Eastern Conference Finals against Columbus Crew SC for the Red Bulls. But it's been a walkabout time for him over the last few years, trying to find his feet, find a place. Went on loan to Denmark and Finland, and his last stop was with AFC Astra in the Romanian First Division, 26 appearances and 5 goals. But as we've said, hasn't played a game since May 20th. New York Red Bulls 2 earn a free kick here in the attacking half of the field.
It's been a good first 7 minutes for Red Bull 2. They've really dominated the game in regards to not any clear-cut chances, but they've had a couple crosses. That one that we saw that, in my NCFC thought the ball was going to go out of bounds and almost turned into a goal. So definitely a positive start here after a 10-day layoff.
Tanari floats that one in. Abong got ahead to it, but couldn't direct it on goal. NCFC turns the ball back over, going the other way. Evan Loro making his 19th start of the year in goal for New York Red Bulls 2. Has really made that position his own for this team. Yanez getting deep down the side. Links up with Aginaga. Tanari turns that one over. Austin Deleuze playing back along his back line. North Carolina trying to play out. And now Miller gets them going the other way for Endom steps through, and it'll be interesting to watch North Carolina's idea of how they want to play out of the back against this New York Red Bulls 2 press.
Yeah, one thing I would say I see early on from North Carolina is that they're aware of this attack of New York Red Bull 2 and obviously the quick starts that they can get off to at home, and they seem to be more concentrated on being defensive and compact. They haven't linked very well when they have been able to find Becker, just like they did there before. He's unable to link with Rios up top. They haven't really had much going forward, but they seem more concentrated on the defensive end so far.
Beautiful touch from Stroud to start this attack. Now New York looking for an opening. Yanez making another run. Excuse me, that was Aginaga, and Tenari's pass was intercepted. North Carolina does well to play out of that one for the turnover over on the far side.
And the other thing, you see Kyle Becker. He wants to play, 5-10 yards underneath Rios. But what you're seeing so far with this amount of pressure that Red Bull 2 have in the attacking half is that Becker's having to drop deeper and deeper. So now that 5-10 yard gap between Rios and Becker is now like 25-30 yards. So when Rios gets the ball, there's no one to link up to, and it's very difficult. And that's what Red Bull 2 do so well.
Tenari's able to keep possession. Aginaga with two defenders around him. Harrington blocks the cross. And now finally a chance to clear it. New York's starting to turn the pressure up here. Harrington skirts that one away. New York Red Bulls 2 got off to a hot start in their last home game against Louisville. Going up 2-0 and then giving up 6 goals from that point on, falling 6-4 to Louisville City here at MSU Soccer Park, which has become a very friendly place for this New York Red Bull 2 team. They'd had a 5-game winning streak going here at home leading into that one. If you're a coach, Hunter, for coaches you've played for, this one's over the top. Rios is chasing Escobar. He's able to get a chest back to his goalkeeper.
Yeah, Escobar does very well because he actually got on the wrong side of Rios. And just that, that turf bounce, I like to say, sometimes you can't always read how it's going to exactly bounce. And fortunately for Red Bull 2, it checks up just enough, and Escobar was able to get his body in between and chest it back. But
flag goes up there against Jared Stroud. But you come off a game where you're up 2-0, you lose 6-4, now you've got 10 days off. How do you handle a young squad like this?
Yeah, I mean, look, I guess it could be good and bad, right? I think typically when you go on you have a long layoff, you like to leave it on a win, to have a good feeling, some good memories to think about. Unfortunately for them, they had 10 days to go home and get that dirty taste out of their mouth.
The offside flag now goes up in the other direction.
But so there's things, as a coach, you can always look back, and sometimes you learn the most from your worst games that you play. When things go well and you win, you can hide some things that maybe didn't go as well. So I'm sure there's some things that happen in that Louisville match that have been happening in certain matches. We saw it even with that Penn FC game where they played such a good first half, and then Penn FC came out, changed their formation, and Red Bull 2 really struggled the whole second half to adapt. So
Becker now on the attack. Rios can't get that one under control. One of these things this Red Bull 2 team has struggled with, and maybe the Red Bull system, when teams are very direct and they use a little bit of size and they bypass the midfield, they avoid the press, and then they put that back line under individual pressure consistently.
Yeah, and that's something I've talked to Wally about, and it's really just derives from the style of play that they want to attack, right? So they commit so many numbers forward, Red Bull 2 do. So it's inevitable that you're going to have your defenders one-on-one. It's going to happen every now and then. You don't want it to happen. You want to limit that. But those opportunities are going to happen for the other teams because they want to commit so many numbers forward. We saw earlier in the year, especially, I remember the first game at Red Bull Arena against Toronto FC2. Toronto FC2 had 3 or 4 chances where just long balls over the top that got beat. Obviously, it was early in the season. Fitness, understanding the system, all those things come into play. But you've seen that not only here with the second team, but the first team as well.
Ball on the top of the box. Aginaga going to find some space. Everyone playing off of him, and he gets a shot away, and it goes just wide of the near post.
But just to finish my thought on that, what it really comes down to, when you play attacking soccer, you commit numbers forward, you have to know where you can lose the ball, right? Obviously, you always want to keep the ball, but you have to know where you have to be 100% with your pass and where you can maybe take a chance, an opportunity. And if you do try to take those chances or opportunities in the wrong parts of the field, you will get burned, and you will find yourself with one-on-ones with your goalkeeper all the time.
Tenari will take this corner kick as Aguinaga's shot was deflected. All 11 players back in the box to defend for North Carolina. Abong gets another touch to this one. Can't direct it on goal. We haven't seen a lot in these opening 15 minutes of Abong, but he's been dangerous on these two set pieces.
Yeah, I mean, look, obviously, you look at him, the one thing he obviously brings is a physical presence up top. He has pace as well. Early on in this game, like I said, North Carolina, they're making the field very compact, so he has a lot of numbers around him. But sometimes, you know, just being that physical presence against a team like this, you attract 2 or 3 guys, and that frees up a Tenari making that late run in, or a Jared Stroud out here on the left. So, you know, maybe it's not so much what he's doing with the ball, but what he's doing without it as well.
Tenari leading the press here. Tambakis goes straight up the middle. A little bit too wide for Becker to get a touch to it. Lima now trying to lead the attack. He finds Anatole Abong. He's got 2 defenders around him. Falls down in the box. And it looks like it's going to go out for, it's going to be a foul on Anatole Abong.
I mean, what an absolute gem of a ball from Lima there. I mean, he bends it around, puts a bang just in between those 2 center backs. Look at this ball. Fantastic. And Abong has the right idea. Tambakis is in no man's land. If his touch was just a bit better with the outside of his foot, instead of going forward at angle, kind of goes backwards, and then it allows Tobin to catch up, and ultimately he causes a foul. But an absolute peach of a ball there from Lima.
Chris Lima, a goal and 3 assists so far this season at a Georgetown University. A Red Bull Academy player. Didn't get a homegrown signing, but stuck around the club and was able to get an opportunity with this New York Red Bull 2 team. And Hunter didn't start the first 3 games of the season, has made the central midfield spot his now over the course of the year.
Yeah, he's a guy I like compare him to a Jared Stroud. You know, 2 guys that started off a little slower than maybe the rest of the group, but now have solidified their position within this team, and their contribution has been fantastic.
Turnover straight to the foot of Abong. Stauffer now pushing forward. Stauffer trying to cut in on his favored right foot. Switches the field for Aguinaga, who's onside. Now for Tenari, and he can't get his touch right, and the deflection goes back over the goal.
It's a wonderful build up there. Stauffer cuts in onto his right. Great pass to Aguinaga, and I think he catches Tenari off guard. I don't know that Tenari was expecting this pass from Aguinaga. It looks like it surprises him a bit, or maybe he thought it wasn't going to get you see there, it goes through Harrington's leg. I think that's what throws him off just enough. But another great build-up, and you kind of feel, you can feel a goal coming here for Red Bull 2, but they still have to be, you know, aware of Rios up top.
Rios has not had a lot of touches on loan. You mentioned from Chivas, this is 3rd straight year on loan. He's played in the Ascension in the 2nd division in Mexico the last 2 years, now playing here in USL.
Almost very similar situations, right, for both center forwards
Yeah.
on both teams, right? Young guys have been loaned out for 2-3 years now, trying to get their footing, get that professional experience that they need.
Rios with Atletico Zacatepec down in Mexico, and Chorus de Tepic for the 2 years before that. Made 2 Copa MX appearances for Chivas. And that's all he's been able to do with his mother club. Coming forward now, Rios is pushed away by Endom. Deleuze keeps it alive, and then Endom with the clearance.
And that's really the first time you've got to see the style that North Carolina want to play. They haven't played very much in these first 15, 20 minutes. And I was just about to say they were knocking it around. They had 4 or 5 passes that led to that opportunity. That pass from Taylor into Rios was just slightly behind him, but they retained possessions, and here they have a corner.
The cross coming there from Canzoria. Corner kick coming now. It'll be Becker to take. So right on the top of the 6, Endom heads it away. Tonari trying to lead the counterattack. He's got no one in front of him. And he's able to at least win a throw-in for his team. But you saw New York Red Bulls too identifying Kyle Becker's service, the size of North Carolina FC, how dangerous those set pieces are going to be.
Yeah, and that's something that every Colin Clark team has always had, was a great server on the ball and some big boys to get in there and get on the end of it. And that's something that continues here with this team. And I mean, Kyle Becker, he's probably one of the best servers of the ball I've seen in a long time. So, you know, I'm sure he's racked up some of those 10 assists from corners and set pieces for sure.
Scored off a direct free kick against Indy 11 to get this team going, put it in a tight corner in that low near post just at the end of the first half to cut that lead in half. Becker, the third pick of the MLS Super Draft to his hometown club, Toronto FC, out of Boston College. Bounced around from there, was not able to get consistent minutes. Ended up winning a championship last year in NASL for San Francisco, and now with North Carolina as Abong's down holding his leg. Toulouse will go back to the feet of Tumbakis. Abong now back up on his feet. Select is the official soccer ball of the USL. For the latest Select products and special offers, visit www.selectsportsamerica.com. Receive free shipping on orders over $50. Yanez with the interception there. Alan Yanez, his first start for New York Red Bulls too, his first start in the United States. The young Guatemalan international.
Great opportunity for him. Someone who we've seen, you know, those moments from when he's come off the bench. He came off the bench in that Penn FC game, showed a couple flashes of what he can offer. So a great opportunity for him tonight against, you know, a very good opponent in North Carolina too. They're gonna ask him some questions on the defensive side. You've already seen him get into the attack, which I think, you know, he loves to do.
2 sub appearances so far for him as Stroud clips that one up over the top. Abong brings it down now. Gonna find a teammate, gets it to Stroud. Lima coming forward, and his cross is blocked. So with Yanez coming in, Lucas Stauffer will swap wings. Started a number of games so far this year at right back. Now moving to left back. His cross comes in, Aguinaga lays it down. And now Graham Smith with the clearance. Rios holding up possession for his team to get forward. And Escobar runs that one down. Hunter as a fullback. Is it a big difference? Right and left?
Oh, I say it's like night and day for me. I was one of those guys that got switched from right to left sometimes, and while I did it for the good of the team, I never enjoyed playing on the left. It was something that happened with under 20s with Ziggy Schmid. It was myself and Marvell Wen, and Ziggy basically said, "Look, we have 2 great right backs, and we don't have a left back, and I think your left foot is better than Marvell." So. Which is not saying much. There's nothing against Marvell, a good friend of mine and teammate on 2 teams that I played on as well. So, you know, sometimes you got to do what you have to find your way on that field, and that was something that I was willing to do. Like I said, wasn't always happy about it, but you got to do what you got to do to get in that 11, because if you're not on the field, that means someone else is taking that opportunity to possibly take your job. And I think you much rather fight for your job on the field than on the bench, that's for sure.
Tobin's long ball is headed out over the end line. Is it because you're one-footed, or is there actually that much difference?
I mean, look, it's obviously you can use both feet. I mean, any professional player should be able to pass the ball with both feet, but it's completely different. As an outside back, you usually have 2 options, 3 if you're lucky. Your back's always against the sideline, right? So you're used to always your vision being one way, and now that's a complete reversal when you flip to the other side. I don't know how to. I'm trying to think of how to explain it to someone who hasn't played, but I mean,
oh,
it's
wow.
No, here you
I
go.
scored a goal in co-ed soccer last week.
So imagine right? You drive on the
Okay.
right. In
Yeah,
America,
you drive on the. You drive
on the
right
left
side of the road.
right side of the road.
Left side of the car.
Of the car.
Yeah.
Now go over to the UK, and that's completely switched. You think it's not going to be a little bit different?
No, it is.
It's similar,
Right.
right? But it's going to take some time to get used to. So I think that's a very good comparison.
And Dom battling that one back. Loro with the clearance. Now, on the ball, you can understand it being different. Off the ball, you're shifting a guy a different direction, but does that really affect you?
No, I mean, look, defensively, off the ball with your position, you know what you need to do. I think where sometimes it does throw players off is when they're going in for a tackle. You're used to typically, as a right outside back, you're used to sliding with your right foot, right? Now when you're on the left side, that's still more natural for you, but it's the opposite way of what you want to do. So now it's like, do I reach with my right foot in an awkward way? Do I go with my left foot, which I'm maybe not as comfortable with, which can lead to a foul or me missing the tackle completely? So I think definitely from a tackling aspect, it can be a little bit of a challenge.
Abong gets on the end of this set piece, wins the tackle. New York trying to create that first opening. Yanez puts it right on the hands of Tambakis. I've got to ask you this question then. For you, watching the game the way you like to watch it, or would you like to see teams, does it matter for center backs if you're right-footed and left-footed? So I look at Michael Harrington, obviously a natural right-footed player playing at left center back.
Well, I don't think it matters as much for a center back because you're not getting into the attack, you're not crossing the ball, you don't find yourself on the ball probably as much creating the game as you do as an outside back. As a center back, typically your passes are 5-10 yards. You're trying to link up with your center mids, finding your outside back or your other center back. Obviously there are certain center backs that have a bit more game to them and they like to spray the ball wide. Their range of passing is different. But I don't think it matters as much. I played alongside, Carlos Mendez for a long time, and he's a natural right-footed guy, and he played a left center back, and he was, a fantastic passer of the ball and was just as adequate with both feet, but definitely loved his right foot more than his left foot, and he made a fantastic career out of it. So the thing you'll find is left-footed soccer players can have a long career because there's not as many of them as right-footers. So I try to tell my kids that every day.
Just out against the wall as 3-year-olds, just using your left foot over and over again. That's the Freeman household.
That's
Sounds
right.
like fun.
Oh, I've failed the first two. The last one is all lefty, hands, feet, everything. So I guess she's making up for the first two.
Miller in a battle here. He's able to keep possession back to the feet of Becker. Becker serves it in. Yanez heads it away. Smith keeping it alive for North Carolina. NCFC going to open up the scoring here on the road. Miller gets his foot through that one. Great chance on the top of the 6. And it goes just wide. Beautiful run there on the far side by Canduzzi. And he gets inside of Yanez and just can't finish.
Yeah, again, I mean, that's probably their second best build-up in play. You haven't seen it that much, but I'm telling you, this North Carolina team and Colin Clark, that's how he wants to play. They haven't been able to do it, and that's a lot of credit goes to Red Bull too. But the 2 times that they've had 2 fantastic chances, that probably being their best one, and they've almost found the net. So definitely something that Red Bull 2 have to be aware of when North Carolina is able to get some possession. They have to be aware. They love to get the ball wide, make those crosses, and like you say, Yanez, his first start tonight, just lack of concentration there, letting him inside of him.
You look at this North Carolina team set up in a 4-5-1 to start this game. How does that change that fullback responsibility? Because you don't have one true winger. You have a few players who are playing in your space.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it can be, it's congested, as you say. But I still think that, as outside back, especially the outside mids, they line up wide, but nowadays outside mids, it's hard to find a true outside mid. They all like to cut inside. They come in, combine with the center mids. you know, a lot of coaches are now playing left-footed players on the right and vice versa, so that when they do come inside, they can also have a shot. It's a completely different look, something that probably halfway through my career really changed, because when I first started, it was all, you know, your traditional wide guys who their feet were on the sideline the entire game and had chalk on their boots. Now it's quite the opposite.
Stroud now pushing forward as New York looks to counter. Aginaga putting him into space for Tanari, and Tambakis beats him there. Tambakis had to be alert and off his line a couple times in this one.
Yeah, he's done well so far, and that's a movement that we've seen here probably 2 or 3 times in this first half from Red Bull 2. That little ball out wide to Aginaga, and Tanari, he's so good at those late little runs, and you see Harrington pick him up just in time. But those are difficult for the center back. You know, Abang, he's occupying both of those guys. But they have to be aware of Tanari making those late runs, and it's obviously easier said than done.
Anatol Abang has not looked rusty. Didn't make maybe a perfect touch on that chance through, but coming back, he has laid the ball off a couple times and found teammates on some hard-hit passes.
Yeah, that opportunity, as you said, maybe that's a little bit of the rust, but he did everything right. It's just his touch let him down in the end. But he's been active. He's into the game. He seems very hungry. Like you said, the one thing he's done very well tonight is holding the ball up and linking up with those midfielders underneath. So definitely a good first 30 minutes for someone who, you know, again, he hasn't had a game in him for 2-3 months now.
You can watch highlights from every game of the 2018 season and stay up to date with news from across the USL at the league's official Facebook page, facebook.com/USL Soccer. You can also go to the USL's official Twitter feed to keep you up to date with news, live game updates, and highlights from around the league 24/7. Follow @USL on Twitter. We mentioned the playoff race starting to tighten up. New York Red Bulls 2 in 8th place at the bottom of the Eastern Conference playoffs. Could potentially jump up to 4th place over the next week or fall down all the way to 12th. It's a really tight group behind that top 3 in the Eastern Conference. Rios brings that one down. Escobar asking for a handball, and he forces Loro into a big save low at the near post.
Yeah, and when he got that ball, the way Ndam was defending him, I was like, please shoot the ball, because Ndam, I mean, he has kind of picked his poison there a little bit, but he could have done a little bit better job to close the angle, because he still gave Rios a pretty good opportunity to sneak it in there in that near post, and Loro got down just in time.
All hands on deck now defensively for New York. Becker puts this one in at the near post. Now Miller trying to keep it alive for his squad. And Tanari puts it out off of Miller, who's not happy with the call. Take a look at the replay here, Hunter, of that chance. As you mentioned, Ndam giving an opening to Rios.
Yeah, and that comes down to the communication. I'm not sure if Ndam saw that Becker was making that run in behind him, but he actually had Giannis there to cover, so he can go closer to Rios. He needs to get closer for me. I mean, Rios is 18, 20 yards out almost at the top of the 18 there. A guy like him definitely has the quality to score from there. And if you're Ndam, you need to close him down quicker, especially when you have Giannis behind you as cover.
Stauffer wins a throw in for his side. That one played up the line by DJ Taylor. Thrown in. Rios going to find a teammate, a lot of white around him, keeps possession.
Great ball there from Taylor to switch the field.
Miller gets it to the feet of Deleuze. Now Taylor once again, he finally able to get up into the attack. It's really the first time North Carolina's been able to pin New York back and work it side to side. Cross comes in, Becker making the late run. Now Miller with the second ball, and he puts it off the near post and out.
Yeah, again, they love to get the ball wide and get runners in the box and serve it. And we've seen that 2 or 3 times now. For me, Miller has to be a lot more patient there. He finds himself open at the back post as that ball skips through the box. I'm not sure if he was in between thoughts of shooting or cutting it back, but I think he could have even taken a touch, maybe drawn one of those Red Bull 2 defenders out towards him and then tried to find a player open inside the box. But you definitely saw, I mean, the first 15, 20 minutes were pretty much all New York Red Bull 2 going forward. North Carolina didn't have much in the game from that standpoint, but they kind of weathered the storm, as it seemed like that was kind of the game plan when they first came out here. They had that low pressure of defense just at the top of the circle, and now they've kind of come into the game, taken their opportunities, and had 2 or 3 very good chances.
Deleuze keeps it alive. Battling on that end line. Stauffer's able to win possession back for New York. And now Abong lays it off for Stroud making the run. New York looking to break. Aguinaga's got Tenari out wide right. Tenari with the early shot. May have been trying to set up Abong, but neither of them came off. And you see there, Hunter, the danger if you do push up and attack against New York.
Again, it's just a long ball up the top that Abong does well to connect. Aguinaga finally gets here. I think he should have dribbled a couple more times. Not the worst decision to play Tenari there, but I would have liked to have taken maybe 1 or 2 more touches, draw the defender towards him, or the defender keeps dropping and now he has a shot for himself. And you see what Tenari was trying to do there, trying to connect at the back post with Abong and just out of his reach, but a fantastic break. And again, that all starts with that ball down the line. Abong lays it off to Stroud, and then Stroud finds Aguinaga.
That one rolls out over the end line. You mentioned North Carolina coming out, trying to play a bit slower to start, trying to deal with the pressure. Clearly giving up a 5th-minute goal at Indy last game. They took some ideas from that one. It's been a perfect start for them in these first 35 minutes. Now a chance in the last 10 of this first half to try and take a lead on the road.
Yeah, I mean, look, when you come on the road, you know sometimes the first 10, 15 minutes of the game aren't going to be pretty for you. You're going to be under pressure from the home team, especially if you're coming here. I mean, look, you look at Red Bull 2 and their results and their run of form at home. They get after it and they get on top of teams early, and it's difficult to come back when you find yourself down 2-0 in the first 15, 20 minutes. So
what a gorgeous ball from Kyle Becker. Rios now in the box. He gets a shot away and into the hands of Loro.
Yeah, and I think Becker wanted that ball back right there at the top of the box. You saw him. He had his arms out like, please play me this. I started to play. Feed me back. But Rios decides to take the shot. Not the worst idea here, but he does well to get rid of Ndam. Cuts it in. I think he saw Becker, but he just decided to shoot it, unfortunately, right at Evan Laurel.
Aguinaga wins it back. Tenari now charging into the box. Wide open, sets up Stroud, and it goes off Abong and in. North Carolina FC's asking for an offside, but Anatole is back with a bang.
I don't know. Hold on. That's a close one there for me. And I think that's exactly what this conversation is between the referee and the linesman on that far side.
What's going to be tough for New York if this is called back is he didn't have to touch it. But let's talk about the play. Aguinaga forces the turnover, and Tenari comes bursting into the box.
Yeah, he forces the turnover. Tenari comes in the box with a slip from Harrington.
So the goal will not count. The offside flag went up. It'll be 0-0 still as the music continues to play here at MSU Soccer Park. It's Anatole Abong in an offside position.
You see that slip there from Guillen, actually. And that shot, Stroud's going to be really frustrated with himself because not only did he not score, he didn't even get it on target. And Abong did what he had to because it was, as you could see there, it was clearly going wide. Fantastic build-up, just unfortunately just didn't have that final touch.
And you could see Tenari the whole time that was his idea, to push that ball to the end line and cut it back. And now North Carolina trying to break through. Escobar with the interception. Stroud charging forward. Tries to sneak it through. It goes all the way for Aguinaga. His low shot off the post and in. There's no calling back this one. Jose Aguinaga opens up the scoring. Red Bulls lead 1-0.
Fantastic, fantastic strike from Aguinaga. Goes through a bit of traffic, so I'm not sure if that throws Tambakis off. He sees it just slightly late, but it all starts here with this run at Stroud, getting at Tobin. A little dummy run there from Tanari in the middle. The ball finds Aguinaga, and he just hits it low and hard to the post. You see that even though it wasn't a dummy, he attracted that defender, which is the reason why Aguinaga is now wide open. That run of Tanari off the inside of the post, and probably a deserved goal here for Red Bull 2 in this first half.
Well, we felt like North Carolina had weathered the early storm and was building. Abang puts it in the back of the net. It doesn't count, and Aguinaga follows that one up with a kiss in off the far post, his 4th goal of the season.
Yeah, I mean, a great reaction to, sometimes you score a goal that you think was a goal, and now that, the referee makes a decision, you can find yourself feeling sorry. But this Red Bull 2 team did absolutely the opposite and came right back and found a fantastic goal and in a great way with 5 minutes left in this first half to take the lead.
What's interesting in this game to watch is Kyle Becker pulling strings. Everything's a clean touch, the way we saw him play that through ball into Rios. Tanari affects the game similarly, but it seems like in a different way. He covers more space, and even there, as you said, doesn't touch the ball, but creates the opening for Aguinaga.
Yeah, Becker's definitely the guy that they want on the ball, and everybody's running off of him. And Tanari is almost the opposite. He wants the other guys on the ball, and he's making those runs. And it's not to say one's better than the other, because they both can be influential and key pieces to how your team's going to play. But with this Red Bull 2 team and the talent that they have in the midfield and up top, it's those late runs that Tanari makes that really, offset a team's defense. Because as I said earlier, as a center back pairing and you see Abang, that's your reference. That's who you're responsible for. But of course, you have to be responsible for anyone that's making a run. But when you don't see that till the last second, all it takes is a slip or you misgauging, the pace that Tanari's coming with, and you find him in behind.
Stauffer now, and Tanari, of course, is going to put that shot over everything as we're complimenting him. But as you said, partners with Chris Lima in midfield, and a lot of this season, Christian Caceres, who was at Vancouver for the MLS team, and so he is on the bench today, doesn't have a full 90 minutes in his legs. Those two guys like to set the tempo, like to sit on the ball, like to switch the field, and Tanari allows them to do that and makes those runs in that back line, as you said, off the wingers, very similar to what Vincent Bezecourt and Florian Velo did, and shout out to Florian who's watching today. But what they did for this team and then were able to push up and do for the MLS squad.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, look, they have a system here at Red Bull. No matter what the team is, the system doesn't really change. Maybe the name on the back of the jersey or the number, but what that player in that specific position and what their role is in order to make the team successful is pretty much going to be the same. And the slight difference I see tonight with Caceres on the bench is that a lot of times it's both Tanari and Caceres that kind of switch off making those runs, which I think as a defender throws you off even more, because now you have to be aware of those two. Which guy is it that's making that late run? Tonight, that triangle of Tanari, Echeverria, and Lima is almost flipped, and you see Echeverria and Lima playing more side to side and Tanari in front of them. So it's constantly been Tanari tonight that's making those late runs, but it's something that he does so well. And then you combine that with those quick combinations of always they're passing the ball, but they're continuing their run, and that's what makes them so dangerous.
Austin Deleuze picks up our first yellow card of the game, and Kyle Becker is going to have a chance to serve in some danger here in the final moments of this first half. Becker puts that one on the top of the 18. And it was Anatol Abong back to defend. Abong now, some light pressure on Tobin. Ball alive in the middle. Miller gets to it first. Push it wide for Becker. Becker's able to get it back to Miller's feet. And then Lima comes over and makes the defensive play.
But these are the times of the game, the key moments of the game that Red Bull 2 sometimes they get snake bit, because you remember that Louisville game. This is kind of when Louisville came back into the game. We've seen it a few times here at home where they've given up goals in these crucial moments, these last minutes of a half or the first minutes of a second half. So you definitely want to make good of that goal that you just got, the lead that you've obtained, and close this game out, or close this half out, excuse me.
Our fourth official about to put up the board for extra time. If it holds at 1-0, Hunter, you're Colin Clark in that halftime locker room. What's your message to this team?
I mean, look, I think they haven't played terribly. They've had some great chances. I think, again, you just have to be aware of those combinations of Lima, Stroud, Tanari's late runs. Obviously, Abang, he's doing a great job up top, holding the ball and being a presence, occupying those two center backs. But for me, if I'm Colin Clark, I say we got to play more. Because when we've played, we've been dangerous. We've created chances. And we've had some really great ones. You know, I mean, that one where that Giannis lost his guy, you know, the guy snuck in. That was a fantastic opportunity. And probably that the goal that Aguinaga scores is not even Red Bull's best opportunity they've had tonight. That's how they find the goal. But so if I'm Colin Clark, I say we have to play more. Now, we've settled into the game. Let's get back to what we want to do.
Yana, as you see there, getting a hit to his lower back, but he's up and able to continue as we play in this 1 minute minimum of stoppage time. David Goss and Hunter Freeman on ESPN Plus for the call. Thank you so much for joining us. New York Red Bulls 2. Look to get 3 more points here at MSU Soccer Park before they're forced to go out on the road. Tumbakis there with a soft touch. Stroud picks it up. He's got acres of space to run into. Cuts in on his right foot, and that shot is just wide.
And that's all decision-making from Tumbakis. He does extremely well to come out to cut the ball, and then he decides that maybe he's going to try to let it go back into his box, makes a bad clearance, and finds Stroud, and Stroud did very well. Unfortunately, just can't put it on target.
Final moments of this first half, Hunter, if you're John Wolynek, what are you saying to avoid the mistakes that have been made the last few games?
No, we had a fantastic first half. We have the lead. We got to concentrate, keep doing what we're doing, be aware of the service from wide from North Carolina FC. That's how they've been dangerous, those runners in the box. But let's come out with those first 5-10 minutes of the second half. Be concentrated. Don't take any chances.
North Carolina FC coming off a 6-game unbeaten streak. Not going to lay down for this one. New York Red Bulls 2, the most explosive team in America right now in professional soccer. 1 goal, probably not going to be enough. That man, Jose Aguinaga, his 4th of the season, puts New York Red Bulls 2 up 1-0 at home, but we expect a whole lot more of fireworks. We'll have league coverage and first half highlights coming up here at halftime on ESPN+.
With MSG Go, the game goes where you go. So you can watch live Red Bulls games anywhere you want. It's free and easy because if you get MSG, you get MSG Go. Watch your favorite team wherever you are with MSG Go, presented by Lexus. Download it for free where you get your apps.
One of the nation's leading heart programs. A shared sense of compassion, innovation, and expertise. Perfectly orchestrated so your world never misses a beat. Hackensack Meridian Health. Life years ahead.
David Gosselin, Hunter Freeman in Montclair, New Jersey. New York Red Bulls 2 leading 1-0 in this one over North Carolina FC. The first time ever these two teams are matching up. And Hunter, off the top, we talked about Jared Stroud, his 9th assist of the season to set up Jose Aguinaga, tied for second in USL.
Yeah, he's been extremely active in this first half. As you said, got the assist on Aguinaga's goal and almost got himself a goal there right before the break. He's been dangerous throughout the match. What I like about Jared Stroud is when he gets the ball and he sees space and he finds that defender and he starts running at him. And the best thing about that is now he's committed someone. So now he can either lay the ball off, he can decide to beat him, but he's been very good tonight.
On the flip side, Kyle Becker, he is the #1 maestro right now in USL, and we've seen his quality all 45 minutes.
Yeah, you've seen him like you do here on set pieces, his delivery. They haven't got on the end of any of them. A couple of them he hasn't got over the first defender, but you've seen that quality that he has. When they do get the ball on the ground, they find his feet. He's played 1 or 2 passes into Rios that's put him almost in on goal. A dangerous player, someone who can always, beat you at any given minute.
For New York Red Bulls, too, they head on the road to face off against the Charleston Battery in their next game, and then they are home a week from Friday against the Ottawa Fury. So make sure if you're in the area to come get tickets and come on out to MSU Soccer Park for, of course, $1 hot dog night. On the flip side for North Carolina FC, a 3-game homestand coming up. First versus their in-state rival in the Charlotte Independence, and then they host Tampa, who they just beat 2-0 on the road, and Nashville, who currently sit 1 spot ahead of them in the standings. So if you are in the area, make sure to get out to Wake Med Soccer Park. We'll be back with a wrap around the league of USL action in what was a crazy weekend and some second half action here on ESPN+.
Cochran tonight appearing in his 71st career match with San Antonio FC. He's been with the club all 3 seasons, most consistent there on the back end.
I felt like my whole life I've always had to prove people wrong. Getting cut from the state ODP team when you're 13 because you're too small, and then in your club team you sit on the bench until you're 16 or 17 years old because you're too small. Everything kept referring back to you're too small. There's no better feeling in the world of being able to look at someone that told you no and to be able to say, I told you so. You kind of see it all when you go through times of playing, getting cut, being someone on the field, playing all the time. It kind of gives you a good grasp of where different players are and what their mentality might be. It's definitely shaped who I am. I wouldn't change anything for my career or for how it's gone. Not only have I grown as a player, I think I've grown as a man in terms of being able to deal with anything that I really think that's thrown at me. I think there's a bunch of different ways that you can be a leader. Bring my lunch pail to work every single day, and I try to get better every day. And if I have that kind of mentality and other people see me pushing regardless of what we're doing, that's the kind of leader I want to be. This is my 3rd year here, and to be able to stay in one place and to really grow with it has been a tremendous honor, and it's something that I don't take for granted at all. Every time that I step on the field, I hope that I represent this club and this city. It's a privilege to play for such a passionate fan base. I'm Greg Cochran, defender for San Antonio FC.
Jason Johnson! You've got to be kidding me! Oh, what a finish! Prowling Spruce! Dante the other way! Oh, what a goal! Near post! Oh, what a finish by Charlie Ward! And what a world-class goal that is from Didier Drogba! Great save for Strakovic! Diamond stop! Must-see TV.
Well, it was a big weekend in USL action, and as we've talked about all first half, Hunter, it's tight. When you look from Louisville City down, Bethlehem Steel, Indy 11, all the way down to this North Carolina FC team, it's tight in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, I mean, it really is. And, I mean, that's what you love as a fan, right? You can look up and you say, look, I'm a Nashville fan. We're tied for 3 places for the last spot, but we're 1 point from being in 4th place. So it's crazy. That's what you get at this time of the year. there's that extra sense of pressure, of pride. We got to win these games, and these games in conference where they're really 6 points.
And Real Monarchs up at the top for the second year in a row, looking real comfortable. But once again, as we say, it's tight around that playoff spot. And a lot of times you see in USL, the team that finishes with that momentum just gets into the playoffs, making runs deep towards USL Cup.
Oh, yeah, I mean, you've seen it at USL, you've seen it at MLS. It's not always how you start, it's how you finish. I know it's the old cliche saying, but it's so true, and I've been on teams that haven't been good in the beginning of the year. We find our stride at the end, and you find yourself getting to that final, and that's ultimately where everybody wants their team to be.
Well, Portland Timbers, too, currently sitting in fourth in the Western Conference. Foster Langsdorff, second in the league in goals, a big reason for that. And you look at the rest of the team. Alex Dixon, a big weekend for Oklahoma City Energy. And Matt Pickens got a big shutout on the road against Louisville for Nashville.
Yeah, and I saw Nashville's Twitter earlier. They were saying a little angry. That was only his first USL Team of the Week. And Pickens, a old teammate of mine in Colorado, someone I know well, definitely played a number of games, and I'm sure he was well-deserved and a great shutout that he had.
Hunter Freeman living on Twitter while he's retired. Not much else to do right now. You look at the stats. New York out shooting North Carolina FC 6-3, out possessing them 54-46, which maybe we didn't totally anticipate because of the way North Carolina's been playing.
Yeah, and I really think that results back to that first 15, 20 minutes where Red Bull 2 was really dominating. North Carolina had a trouble holding onto the ball, but as I said earlier, after that first 20, 25 minutes, North Carolina kind of came into the game, got the ball on the deck, started passing, a little more possession, got the ball wide, and those runners in the box, like every Colin Clark team wants to play, and they had 2 or 3 very quality chances.
Well, we are ready for a lot more goals in this one. New York Red Bulls 2 leading 1-0 through the 40th minute goal by Jose Aguinaga, the 9th assist of the year for Jared Stroud. Puts him in second place in USL. We'll be back in just a moment here on ESPN Plus with your second half action.
With MSG Go, the game goes where you go. So you can watch live Red Bulls games anywhere you want. It's free and easy because if you get MSG, you get MSG Go. Watch your favorite team wherever you are with MSG Go, presented by Lexus. Download it for free where you get your apps.
One of the nation's leading heart programs. A shared sense of compassion, innovation, and expertise. Perfectly orchestrated so your world never misses a beat. Hackensack Meridian Health. Life years ahead.
A perfect evening for soccer as summer starts to come to a close. New York Red Bulls 2 leading 1-0 on ESPN Plus. David Goss and Hunter Freeman joining you for this one. Let's take a look at our first half highlights. Most of the chances early on coming, Hunter, to New York's way.
Yeah, and this was that fantastic ball from Lima, splitting those two center backs, finding a bong, and unfortunately you see here this touch with the outside of his right foot just takes him a bit backwards, too far to the side, causes a foul there against Tobin, but a fantastic ball from Lima. And then here you see, this was that ball, I think was also from Lima. Abong does fantastic to connect with Stroud. Aginaga, I would have liked to seen him carry the ball one or two more times before he finds Tanari. And you see Tanari's idea was to find a bong in that far post. He just puts it out just too far.
We thought this was the opening goal. Tanari sets up Stroud. His shot misses. A bong puts it in. But after a little bit of conversation, our linesman, talking to our head official, calls it offside.
Yeah, and I like that he didn't raise his flag initially. And I think what the linesman was trying to figure out with the head referee was, one, was there a deflection, or two, because I even saw it there in that first replay, it almost looked like an own goal. So I like where he took his time, he allowed the goal to happen, and then ultimately they got the call right, and that's what matters in the end. And then here, the goal from Aginaga. Again, this little run here from Tanari, although he doesn't dummy it, he attracts that defender, Guillen, who's the left back. He tracks him all the way inside, and that allows Aginaga to get freed up, gives him that time and space to get his head up, and a fantastic low strike to the inside of that far post. And they find themselves up 1-0 going into the half.
And for New York Red Bulls, too, Hunter, the most explosive team in the league, but Armando Moreno, who's not even on the field, leads them with 9 goals. It hasn't been one individual, and you see there each chance coming somewhere else, and then Aginaga gets only his 4th goal of the year.
Yeah, you know, and I heard this on a radio earlier about teams who don't have that devout goal scorer, where they're spreading goals amongst the whole team and how that's a bad thing. I never think that's a bad thing, because if you're the opposition, you're trying to decide where is it coming from. If there's one guy scoring 10, 15 goals, it's like, hey, if we can shut this guy down, we have a chance. But with this Red Bull 2 team, as you said, I mean, you have Moreno, who's not even playing. You have Cáceres, who's scored a bunch of goals from the penalty spot, to be fair. You have Tanari. You have Stroud now. You have all these guys that are contributing to the team with goals and assists, and it's just like, okay, we shut this guy down, and now all of a sudden the other guy takes off. And that's what I love about this Red Bull 2 team. They're clicking on all cylinders. They're scoring goals left and right, especially here at home, and it's a difficult team to play against.
On the flip side for North Carolina, they do have that one guy. They don't only rely on him, but Daniel Rios, 12 of their team's 34 goals so far this year. What have you seen from the young Mexican forward? Yeah,
he's been a bit quiet. Like I said, the early part of that half, North Carolina didn't really have the ball much. So as a forward, it's difficult to get opportunities when your team doesn't have the ball. As they settled into the game and they found Becker, Becker was able to get him into some good positions. But again, North Carolina, what they want to do, they want to have that possession, eventually switch the field, get it wide, and then whip the cross in. And then they have a big guy at Rios. They have Becker who comes in late, that opposite outside midfielder who's coming into the box, where we saw with Yenis just falling asleep, where they almost scored the goal there. So not a terrible first half for North Carolina FC, but they'll definitely be disappointed to have given up that goal late in the half, right before halftime.
Hassan Endam giving the speech right now for this New York Red Bull 2 team. The key for them is not giving up soft goals. We've talked about it all season for New York Red Bulls 2, and yet they've continued to do it. A different look today, Steven Echeverria, more defensive player in central midfield, and Fidel Escobar, the experienced man. He started 3 World Cup games. He's in the back now as well.
Yeah, I mean, that experience is huge for a young team like this. And as well, we talked about that little triangle of the midfield between Tanari, Lima, and Echeverria. It's a little bit flipped because sometimes when Cáceres plays, it's Tanari and Cáceres up top, and Lema's just sitting deep. And tonight you have Lema sitting next to Echeverria with just Tanari up top. So a little bit slight different look. But let's see what this second half has to hold for us.
For North Carolina FC, they come out with the exact same lineup they started the game in, as does New York Red Bulls too. Coach Colin Carrico, of course, has a lot of options to call on if he wants to. Chance coming now early on and immediately a goal. We said they had that one man. Daniel Rios puts it in the opening 20 seconds of this second half.
And this is exactly what we said going into halftime. Come out if you're Red Bull 2 and be concentrated. Do not give away any chances, let alone a goal. But a fantastic, fantastic start here from North Carolina. I mean, straight from the kickoff. I'm not even sure Red Bull touches the ball in these 20 seconds. Obviously, 20 seconds isn't a lot of time, but just a straight build-up, long ball from the back. Again, where does the ball go? Wide. Becker making that run into the channel from Yenis. And then a a great cross, and Rios wide open. I mean, wide open. You see, looks like, I don't know if Escobar, I don't know where he was going, because I mean, Rios is wide open in the box, you know, 2-3 yards out. So definitely, I think that just boils down to a lack of concentration, not ready to come out here in this second half and start the match.
The assist there by Kanzoria. It looked like Hunter maybe Endom over pursued Becker to one wing as well. It opened up a lot of space for Kanzoria to charge into, as we get a yellow card here for Jared Stroud. So an eventful opening few moments here. And everything we've discussed now, Hunter, goes out the door for North Carolina FC. They get that away goal. They're tied right now, so does that change their mindset of how they want to play this second half? And for New York, we talked about making little small mental mistakes, and they immediately step out there and do it.
Yeah, I mean, again, I didn't feel like North Carolina had too much to be disappointed with in the first half. They had some great opportunities. Obviously, they gave up the goal, which they were going to be not very happy with. But, I mean, they came out here, a goal in the first 20 seconds. Definitely going to make you feel good about yourself. And I'm sure that's what Colin Clark said. Just keep going out there. Go back out there the second half. Do what we did after those first 20 minutes. And let's find our way back in this game. And then, you know, anything can happen. And that's exactly what they've done.
When I mentioned Colin Clark has a number of options off the bench if he wants to go attacking. He's got Lomas and Owolo up top. Ty Shipolane, one of the best goal scorers in North Carolina history, and Dre Fortune, a young academy player, off the bench. On the flip side, for New York in this one, they've only got 5 players on the bench, 16 dressed for this game. They've got Ben Mines, Christian Caceres, and then defensively 2 center backs in Kevin Politz and Wahab Akwi. Scott Levine, the backup goalkeeper for this one.
Both benches have a little bit of firepower, that's for sure. As you said, for Red Bull, I'd be looking for Mines and Caceres to get into this game. Definitely can have their influence. And Shipolane for North Carolina has some pace.
A bong in the box here. He puts it on the far post. Tenari can't get there. He keeps it alive. An early ball back across. It's taken by Deleuze. North Carolina playing out of their own box. Now Abong's got some space to cross again, and he can't get good contact. Rios holding up the ball. And now North Carolina looking to break. Rios down the line. He beats Escobar. Lays it off for Becker. Becker's shot, and it's inches wide.
Wow, end-to-end action, huh? I love it. I mean, a fantastic build-up there. It all starts with Becker coming in, plays this ball to Rios. I think Escobar, he's got to slow down. He's overcommitting himself. It's all or nothing. And then Rios gets his head up, finds Becker making that late run. And Becker even had an opportunity to lay it off to his teammate there. He chose to shot, and he just missed by an inch. But wow, what a start to the second half that would have been if that would have found the back of the net.
That one almost goes over the head there of Tobin. And now Stroud's got a little bit of space on the left side of the box. His shot goes over the top. As Hunter said, all action so far in this second half. Chances both ends and a goal already for North Carolina.
Yeah, quite the opposite of what we saw in that first half, which is a little bit more, you know, here we go again.
Stroud's back in that final third. A left-footed cross, and it's easily pushed away by Graham Smith. Stauffer now coming forward from his fullback spot. Abong tries to take that one down with a man on his back, and Tambakis is out and quickly punts it forward.
He looked up, he saw Rios one-on-one there with Endom. That's one thing that Red Bull's got to be careful of when they're committing numbers forward. Sometimes they commit too many and they find themselves one-on-one, and I think that's what Tambakis saw. Got his head up, said, let me give this a good hoof and see what can come of it.
Well, just in these first few moments here, Hunter, every time North Carolina clears the ball out to Rios, if he turns left with his back to goal, he's got players streaking up the side as Stauffer and Escobar get sucked forward. New York's been fortunate so far that he hasn't gone that way.
Yeah, Miller's been open on that right side 2 or 3 times already.
And now Taylor finds the feet of Miller. Miller one-on-one with Stauffer. Stauffer does just enough, but Miller barrels right through it, and his outside of the foot shot goes over everyone.
Another great opportunity for North Carolina. Stauffer does very, very well originally, and then that clearance hits off Miller, and it just falls very favorably for him. Should have gone with his left foot. Tries to toe poke it with the right, and he misses the target.
Abong now trying to make some headway. North Carolina can't keep possession. Stroud brings it back to the feet of Lima. Lima there, his shot blocked. Yanez lost out on that header, so it'll be New York Red Bulls 2 ball. Immediately thrown back in. It's been all action here in this second half. New York looking to continue it. Aguinaga goes wide here for Stauffer. His touch a little long, but he puts it over Tambakis. What a moment. The starting left back for the New York Red Bulls 2 gets his first goal in red and white. New York Red Bulls 2 are back in the lead.
And if you want to see some beautiful soccer, some one-touch, two-touch, I even thought Aguinaga maybe should have played Stroud here. Look at this. Quick combinations. It looks like he was trying to find Stroud. Credit to him, though. He's patient, gets his head up to that opposite side of the field. Found Stauffer there. Not the best of first touches by any means, but it sets it up just enough to where you get that little dink over the goalie. And there you see with the, might need to work on that celebration a little bit. That's what happens when you're a defender scoring. Sometimes you get like a deer in the headlights. You're not sure what you're supposed to do. But a fantastic goal, a fantastic build-up, and a great finish there from Stauffer.
Excuse me, that's Stauffer's second goal of the year. Jose Aguinaga, now a goal and an assist. He's got 4 goals and 4 assists on the season. And we've seen a couple times, Hunter, New York Red Bulls 2 get deep in the box and cut that pass back when you expect them to go to the other side or take a shot. We saw Tenari with a long touch earlier, and I thought Stauffer, as well as you did, lost that one, but he's able to get it under control and finish. This cross now comes in. Tenari in a foot race with Guillen. Guillen's able to knock it away from the seat of his pants. And Echeverria immediately puts that ball back into the attacking third. Stroud here with some space, and he rips a shot, and it goes just wide.
Good decision there, though, from Stroud. He was trying to find a way to get that ball to Tenari, but instead the defenders, putting him under pressure, they decided to drop and cover that run that Tenari was making, which gave him those 2-3 yards of space to have a shot. So I love that decision. While it wasn't on target, I think that was a correct decision from Stroud.
Both teams have their substitutes up and warming up behind the 2 goals. Tenari here. Lima charging forward. His pass intercepted. And immediately New York gets it back.
Once again, Endom one-on-one. I mean, you know, he has it under control, but if anything goes wrong, it's a dangerous. You're playing with fire there. Yenes needs to get tucked in more to give him cover for in case something happens. You never want to assume, especially as a defender, because as soon as you do that, you'll find yourself in a bad position.
Stauffer tries to throw it into the path of Abong. Tambakis will clear it. Lucas Stauffer, normally the starting right back throughout this season. Alan Yanez coming over from Guatemala gets the opportunity as Stroud's now in the box. He's got some options in front of him. He shoots it. Tambakis makes the save. Kanzoria does a great job coming back to help his team. New York Red Bulls 2 starting to pour it on, and Hunter, you have half a thought as NCFC comes out to start this half that if they're going to open up and attack New York Red Bulls too, might feel comfortable in a game like that. And they've really shown the energy here in these last 10 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost as if that goal woke them up, because they definitely came out a bit sleepy, falling down the first 20 seconds with that goal from North Carolina. But it's awoken this team, and they've been fantastic going forward. And Red Bull 2 is not a team I think you want to get in a track meet going up and down. They have a lot of young legs. These guys can run forever. And they've shown, being the leaders of the league with the amount of goals that they've scored, that they can find goals and they can find them quickly.
North Carolina FC forced to come back once again in this one.
And think back to that chance that Becker had, right, that he just missed. They almost found themselves up 2-1 in the first, 2-3 minutes of the second half, and now they fall back. So, a lot of emotions as well for them, thinking that now they're back in the game. Oh, maybe we should be winning this game. And now they're having to fight from behind again.
And it looks like Mario Lomas is going to be the first substitute of the game. As Coach Colin Clark looks to make a change. Be interesting to see if he comes on in place of Rios or alongside Rios. Coach Clark has played with two forwards a number of times this season. Has also played, as we've seen in the start of this one, in that 4-5-1. Tambakis will clear that one long.
It'll be interesting to see if he goes with two up top, what happens to Becker now, because essentially that number 10 that Becker's playing kind of goes away. So now Becker either has to find himself out wide or centrally.
So it'll be Kanzoria, who's got the assist in this one, to come off. Lomas coming on. He's got 5 goals and 2 assists so far this season. His first year out of Creighton University, where he played for just 1 season, coming over from the Netherlands.
And it looks like you said Lomas will partner up top with Rios. Deleuze will go out to the left from his central midfield spot, and now Becker will slide into that center mid.
And to take this free kick. He chips it up the field towards Abong. Abong brings it down and gets a shot away. Anatol Abong hasn't played a soccer game in 3 months, hasn't played for Red Bulls in 2 years, but you can see why New York Red Bulls would love to get him healthy and confident.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely been a menace tonight, and that was a perfect example. Not an easy ball, 1, to bring down, 2, when you have a big guy like Tobin wrestling with you, and he does fantastic. Again, you just see that the finishing part, right? That little bit of finesse, maybe instead of power, choices that, do I hit this with the inside? Do I hit this with the laces? The chance he had earlier where he used the outside of his right, maybe could have used the inside of his left. So those little things maybe are a bit rusty, but he's been fantastic tonight. Definitely nothing but positives I've seen so far.
North Carolina trying to press New York into a mistake. Now back on the attack. DJ Taylor coming forward, and Becker can't find him, but does win the ball back. And now Aguinaga is able to get New York on the attack once again. Tanari goes wide for Aguinaga. He's got 3 options in the box. He gets to the end line, and it's tackled away perfectly by the captain, Tobin.
Yeah, it was almost like Aguinaga found himself with so much time and space. He wasn't sure which option he should choose. A great defensive play there from Tobin. But one thing I'm interested in now Becker finds himself dropped deeper, and we didn't feel like he found the ball that much in that first half, and when he did, he was pretty dangerous. So now I look for him to maybe find himself on the ball more than he did in the first half, which could lead to trouble for Red Bull 2.
Well, Becker will have to do that with a yellow card. So he picks one up here. I'm curious, Hunter, for you. You've played against Austin Deleuze for a number of years. He's been a star in NASL and played well in Major League Soccer throughout his career. shifted inside to start this game. He's played a lot of time this season at central midfield, traditionally out wide as a left midfielder. What did you see from him inside?
Yeah, he was pretty quiet, to be honest. I mean, nothing good, nothing bad, Or I won't say nothing good, nothing great. That's no disrespect to him. It was just he had a quiet night, and a lot of that, I think, was due to the fact that they were trying to be compact, play defensively, not let that early goal in. Now you see him out here on the left. It's a place that he's played a lot of in his career. He's very comfortable, very good left-footed. He'll pinch in more than your traditional outside midfielder.
Aguinaga with the early ball into the feet of Tanari. His shot is going to go wide.
But for him, he'll play this almost like a hybrid center mid, outside mid, something he's very good at. But the one thing that he'll provide out here with his left foot is his service. So if he has time on the ball in that attacking third, and now he's got two big targets up top, it could be a dangerous situation for New York Red Bull too.
Coming out here watching Deleuze play, are there any nightmares or flashbacks that you're having from your years battling him out on the wing?
No, we had some good battles, some yellow cards, some red cards, I think, for both of us. So, I think we both have mutual respect. And look, he's had a fantastic career, and he's still playing. And he has the technical quality that, for me personally, I love to see in a player, especially in those positions. And as I referred to earlier, he's left-footed, so. He's going to be able to play for as long as he wants because it's difficult to find guys like him, left-footed, with the technique and touch that he has.
For Deleuze, what a great way to have your career right in your home state. Out of Winston-Salem, played at Wake Forest where he won a national championship. 2007, 4 college cups in 4 years. And then, of course, drafted here to the New Jersey, New York area to play for the Red Bulls for 2 years before getting traded to DC United. And then since 2011, except for one season with Orlando City, he has been a part of North Carolina soccer. Aguinaga trying to get by Guillen. Puts it between his legs, but can't get on the end of it. And now Guillen clears it up the line. Lomas and Rios trying to cause some havoc together up top. Now, how does this change the way the fullbacks for New York Red Bulls too, the way Escobar has to play with a second forward up top?
Yeah, I mean, the outside fullbacks definitely have to be more aware of one another and which one's pushing forward, because before with just Rios up top, it's easy. You split that between the two center backs, and now as outside back, you can both be very high in advance on the field. Now with two guys up there, the two center backs are going to be one-on-one. So one of the outside backs on the opposite side, if Stouffer's attacking, Yenis needs to tuck in and give that cover. You always want a man advantage in your back line. So if they have two guys up top, you want 3 versus 2. If one of those forwards now drifts back into the midfield, you can just leave the two center backs. But it's something you have to be aware of, something that we've seen Yenis maybe not be, as in tune with the team because his time here has been short so far. But he needs to be aware of tucking in, especially when Stouffer's attacking on that left side.
So Anatola Bong's return to New York Red Bulls 2 ends after 64 minutes. In total, Hunter, what did you think? We've talked a lot about him, of course. What did you think?
Yeah, no, I thought he was a handful. He did a fantastic job holding the ball and linking up with his teammates. It's one thing to hold the ball. It's another thing to connect with your teammates. He brought them into the game. It led to some great chances and goals. But for me, I mean, his first game in 2-3 months, just having come back, he had the right attitude, which I think is very important too. So all I can say is a ton of positives for me watching Abang tonight.
And the man coming on for him, Ben Mines. You say, man lightly, as Ben Mines, still a teenager, gets tackled to the ground, had to deal with some injuries. As Mines is still down now behind the play. He has dealt with injuries over the last few months, and it would be terrible to see him go right back out. But Hunter, Coach Wolenek said he's got to fight for his spot back, starting at the center forward position.
Yeah, and I mean, that's, look, if you look back to the beginning of his season, he got his debut and scored. That's part of being a professional athlete. Right now it's come full circle, and he's back here with Red Bull 2, and he's having to fight for minutes. So, you know, this is all the it's the maturation of a player, of a human being, you know, going from being a teenager now to fighting against men who this is their job. This isn't just, hey, we're going to play with my buddies. It's a completely different animal, and it's a growing pain, you know.
This is Mines' 4th straight appearance off the bench. You mentioned he scored the goal in his debut Major League Soccer game against the Portland Timbers the first week of the season. It was a rout by New York Red Bulls. So it will be a yellow card here.
And I think this yellow card is strictly from Tobin kind of stepping over Mines after the play. Unnecessary from Tobin. I'm sure there was an exchange of words between the two of them. I'm not sure what was said. Probably wasn't very nice, but I think that's what draws this yellow for Tobin. The play was over with the ball was already almost into the attacking half for North Carolina. He steps over Mines, who was injured. Here you see nothing in that. Just a hard challenge there. I think Mines lands a bit awkward. And it's that little step over. Maybe he clips Mines. I think Mines also makes a bit much of it as well. And that's ultimately what leads to the yellow. But in the end, hopefully, Mines is okay. It looks like he's favoring that left shoulder. Which the thing is those plays, I mean, sometimes you land and it doesn't look like much, but it's just awkward, hard ground.
Mines here playing in what is his 3rd season of USL action, playing as an academy loanee in 2016-17. Had 2 goals in 16 appearances. And now this year, this is 14th appearance. He's got 1 goal in USL play and 1 goal in MLS action. And Hunter, that's something we've talked about a lot, is the ability for academy players to not lose college eligibility. And Ben Mines was committed to go to Stanford, as you see Christian Caceres getting ready to come on. Committed to go to Stanford, but still also got to see, where am I at in my level?
Looks like he just gave Ben Mines a red card there. I'm baffled for what that would be for.
That has to be for him kind of reaching out there for Tobin's leg. After that interaction, you saw his arm go out, and it looked like that's where he got hit. And so he gets a straight red card. He was on the field for less than 5 minutes here, Hunter. And now New York Red Bulls 2 are man down.
Yeah, and for someone who, you know, is fighting for minutes, here we go back to this play. It's a throw-in. They're tussling for the ball. They both go down. Here you see Mines favoring that shoulder.
And look right here. After he gets yelled at, you see that right arm come out and hit out at Tobin. And that's what the red card's for.
Yeah, but that's not, I mean, come on. This is men playing. I mean, I get hit by my 2-year-old daughter worse than that. You know what I mean? So it's unfortunate, but you know that's the risk you run when you do things like this. Just like Tobin, you know, stepping over him. You never know what these linesmen and referees are going to decide. I mean, I don't know what to say about that. That baffles me, and you ruin a good game. This was a good game, and now you ruin it for me.
Jose Lara, our head official, making the call. He's had an eventful game. He had to go over to the linesman, Tyler Rostock, in the first half to figure out Anatol Abong's goal. They made the right call. They called it offside and called the goal back. Now here, once again, doesn't make an initial call on the play, goes over to Zeno Cho, discusses with him, and then comes over and gives a yellow card to Tobin and a straight red card to Ben Mines.
Yeah, I would have loved to have heard that conversation, because the linesman's on the far side of the field from where that play happened. So it wasn't like it was right in front of him. I mean, he had a clear vision of it, but I mean, I do not see anything in that from either player. Either player. I mean, for me, 2 yellows, fine. Let's move on. Keep this a good match and keep going. But a red card is, again, I'm a bit speechless from that one.
So now, Hunter, once again, we discuss the New York Red Bulls, too, with a lead, trying not to make silly mistakes, trying not to turn off. And a young 18-year-old in Ben Mines picks up a red card 5 minutes into his appearance. And now New York Red Bulls, too, are going to be man down with a goal lead. This one headed back across the box. Rios beaten to it by Escobar. Christian Caceres still waiting to come on the field as a substitute. It looks like North Carolina is getting ready to make a substitution as well. Zaginaga pushes that one away.
Yeah, I mean, look, not to beat Ben Mines up, but if you're fighting for playing time and you come in and that's your contribution to your team, it's not a great look for you. And obviously, again, I don't think it's a red card by any means, so it's a bit unfortunate for him. And you also hope that he's not injured, because it still looks like he's favoring that shoulder pretty good. But these are the growing pains of a teenager coming into a professional world, right? There's highs and there's lows and there's everything in between. And I think this year Ben has had that. You know, he's had the high of making his debut and scoring in it, to the lows of injuries and you know, bouncing back and forth between, you know, the first team, the second team, trying to get minutes with the first team. Now he's trying to get minutes with the second team. Again, this is what this team's for, though.
So 2 substitutions made. Caceres comes on for Echeverria, like for like there in central midfield. And Ty Shipolani, one of the all-time leading goal scorers in North Carolina's history, comes off the bench, like for like change on the right wing for Miller. And so North Carolina FC, no surprise, down a goal, up a man. They're going to go for it here with their second substitution. On the flip side, for Coach Wolenek, he brings in a player in Caceres who is going to give you a little bit more possession, maybe a little bit more composure on the ball as you try and keep it here in these final few minutes.
Yeah, I mean, I like the move from both coaches. Obviously, Colin Clark, his team's down, and he brings in a pacey individual and T. Shipolani, someone who's definitely not afraid to run at his defenders and get crosses, can score goals as well. And then on the flip side, like you said, you have Caceres. Well, he brings him in to solidify that midfield. A very, very important aspect for this Red Bull 2 team, and a move that I appreciate as well, because I think the game's, 15 minutes left, and you need to solidify the center of the park.
The USL will surpass 2 million in total attendance this week, maintaining a record pace in the stands for the league's modern era. The league would like to thank all its fans for the rising support they've provided for clubs across North America over the course of this season as we head toward the 2018 playoffs. 2019, a number of clubs ready to come online in Birmingham, in El Paso, in Hartford, as well as a whole new division, Division 3 in USL. Hunter, all of that is great news, because all of that means more soccer jobs, more places for players to play, and more opportunities for fans across this country to watch the game.
No, it's fantastic.
Excuse me, across both countries.
Yeah. I mean, it's a fantastic opportunity for any young aspiring players out there that, want to dream or do dream of becoming a professional. As you said, that just means there's more jobs and more opportunities. Something that, quite honestly, I never thought would happen in my lifetime here in the U.S., and it's happened way sooner than I think anyone has expected. But it's a fantastic result of ownership groups wanting to, invest in soccer, and also the fans. If it's not for the fans, none of this really happens in the end.
FC Cincinnati's already set a record for their season attendance, and still a long ways to go They've done some incredible things so far. They've got a lot of work left coming up as they make the leap to Major League Soccer next season. Bringing in Fatai Alashe and Fernando Adi to close out their USL season. You think Anatola Bong looks big and strong and composed on the ball. Fernando Adi's a whole nother monster.
Yeah, and every year there's a expansion team coming in. They do it just a little bit different than the other one.
Guillen coming in here. He puts it on the far post, and he can't find a teammate.
Again, you see North Carolina get the ball wide, whip it in the box. That's where they make their money. That's how they score their goals. And now with the addition of Lomas up top with Rios, you have two big boys and Shipolani who can get in on the end on the opposite side.
I'll be interested to see the substitution coming up. Wahab Akwi is going to come on the field. Only two position players left on the bench. Both of them are center backs. So does Coach Wolenek go defensive sub? And it looks like he will bring out Aginaga, an attacking player, and bring in another player, defensive player in Akwi. So potentially five-man backline here, or maybe one of the fullbacks pushes up the field.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind a five-man backline, especially the fact that you have Lomas and Rios up top. It gives you another big body to deal with those two guys. Now you have three. And that's what it looks like. He's either going to sit in between Endom and Escobar, or maybe sitting just in front of them.
But you see here the issue immediately, Hunter, as you're looking out on the field. Endom and Akwi, both with their arms out to their side, saying, I don't know where I'm supposed to be. You see this a lot in professional soccer. I have to say, it drives me a little wild. If you play a four-man backline, bringing in a fifth defender doesn't make you better defensively just because you brought that player in.
Yeah, and this is all down to communication. I mean, look, if I'm on the field and I see that we're bringing in another center back and we haven't taken one out, and we're a team that sometimes plays five in the back, my first thought is, okay, we're going to five in the back. But there you see Akwi comes in, and it's not only does he not seem to know where he's supposed to be, but he can't communicate with his teammates the change of formation or anything like that. So not the best start for Akwi to come in, because when you're coming in as a sub, the coach is giving you specific instructions, but he's also oftentimes also telling you what to tell some other guys. Okay, we're switching formation. We're going to five in the back. That obviously lacked there from Akwi, and I think they have finally figured it out here.
Wahab Akwi making his sixth appearance of the season. Came in off the bench against Penn FC to help solidify that victory. Before that, had not appeared since the end of June in USL action, but has made a couple big starts and victories over the Charlotte Independents, as well as that game against Penn FC.
Again, though, I like the move from Wolenek to bring him in. You're down a man. Again, North Carolina is playing with two up top now, and both of them are big physical strikers. So now you bring another physical aspect to your back line. I think it's a good call.
Cross knocked down, and Loro makes the save. All right, to be quick off his line there. Don't forget, you can get an inside look at life on and off the field from a player's perspective every Wednesday evening in the latest editions of From the Pitch on USLsoccer.com.
Again, it's the ball wide, it's across in the box, and you see there they have 3-4 players inside the box just waiting to pounce on that loose ball.
Loro with the long ball, and now with Noah Bong in and no player up top in Ben Mines. Jared Stroud forced to chase by himself. Taylor down the wing for Shipolani. Turned over in favor of New York. Final 10 minutes coming up here. New York Red Bulls leading 2-1. Right now the game-winning goal going to Lucas Stauffer. And a whistle goes here. And it looks like it's going to be a yellow card to Caceres for using his hand.
Actually, I don't think it's for using his hand.
Oh,
it's
for shooting?
Shooting the ball, but that's a tough one for me. I mean, ball does appear to hit his hand, but it doesn't seem as if his hand was the moving towards the ball. It wasn't like he directly played the ball. It was just a quick, you know, redirection amongst both of the players, and it fell to his feet.
Well, it hasn't been a dirty game by any standard, but there's been 6 yellow cards and a straight red card shown between these two teams by our head official, Jose Lara. So it's been an eventful one for the referees, and of course that controversial goal by Ntolobong that was called back. Guillen now drives this cross to the far post, only as far as Cipollani. He chips it back in. It's alive on the top of the 6, and it falls safely into the hands of Loro as Rios jumped over that one just in front of the goalkeeper.
Yeah, Deleuze did very well to get his head on that, and I'm pretty sure even if this goes in, they might call Rios offsides because although he doesn't directly play the ball, he's in Loro's sight. You see the ball there, just a last-second header, and Rios definitely in the line of sight of Loro. So even if that had gone in, I don't think they're going to allow it. But North Carolina is looking dangerous again from those wide areas. That's what they're looking for. Cipollani and Deleuze here on the left provide the service, and then 3-4 guys in the box.
Guillen into the feet of Rios. Endom comes through the back of him and gives up a very dangerous free kick, especially with Kyle Becker out there on the field.
Yeah, that's a silly one. Just an over-aggressive. All he needs to do is just stand his ground, stand him up, and he'll turn back and play the ball backwards. He gets a little overzealous, commits the foul, and as you said, with Becker on the ball and with Tobin, Rios, Lomas, you have some big bodies in there.
This is my favorite part. They always put a second player over it as if Aaron Guillen's going to take this free kick away from Becker. It'll be the right-footed service clipped in. It's knocked away by New York. All 10 players back to defend right now, so North Carolina is able to keep it in the attack. A second cross played in and rocketed up the field by Caceres.
And I don't know if it's because we've been talking up his service, but for me, Becker's service from set pieces and corners tonight has been lacking a little bit. I know he won't be very happy. Someone who usually serves an extremely dangerous ball into the right spot every time.
Bad turnover here from Caceres. Smith starts the attack. Rios gets it under control on the edge of the box. Back to the fullback. And now Guillen taking his time. We haven't seen North Carolina panic at all here, Hunter, since they've gone man up. They've looked very composed, kind of confident that that goal will come.
Yeah, I mean, look, what they've been doing has been working, you know, it's making the field big.
Taylor now puts this one in. Lomas gets a touch to it. He tries to get around Loro, but he can't save it from going out.
But doing just that. Spread the field, get the ball wide, serve it into the box, and they always have 2 or 3 runners. And that one, look, just out of the reach, not necessarily out of the reach of Lomas, but it was a difficult one. He was lunging for it with his left foot. I think he'd almost been better off trying to put that on target with his left foot. It looked like he was trying to control it and then maybe have a shot. I think that's one where you just got to try to get enough on it, direct it towards goal, and see what happens.
New York trying to create an opening. Stroud's offside. Assistant referee just waiting for him to make a play on the ball. And now North Carolina back into the attack. It was a 40th minute opener by Jose Aguinaga. As now Rios gets by Endom. Escobar comes over, and this time he makes the tackle.
Yeah, and Endom needs to go pat Escobar on the back because once again, Endom trying to be over
aggressive.
Yeah, over aggressive. Thanks. Escaped my mind. He was over aggressive there, and Rios gets basically in one-on-one, and that's the danger. Just stand him up. He's not going to go anywhere.
Hunter Freeman's brain's melting watching all these fullbacks get all these attacking touches. As Guillen now floats one over the goal, you would have killed to play for either of these teams right now.
Oh, man, I love nothing more than when the other team went down a man because that just means I got to attack more and more. And I didn't really need an excuse to attack, but as soon as I saw the red for the other team, then I knew it was. There you see, he's just over aggressive. First of all, he's dragged out wide. He's on the sideline. And thankfully, with that switch to the five-man back line, it gives them that extra cover, which Escobar's now closer to him and is able to get there. But that was 2 in a row where, for me, and Dom was just way too aggressive and put himself and his team in a bad spot.
Well, the third and final sub coming here now for Colin Clark. Well, it looks like he will bring in another forward here. Going off as center midfielder Graham Smith. Coming on is Donovan Uwolo, young Cameroonian forward who started the last game against Indy 11. Comes off the bench here.
Yeah, it looks like Uwolo will shift to the right outside mid, and Shipolani will come all the way across to the left. So now you have 2 pacey guys on both sides of the field for North Carolina, looking to use their pace to get in behind and get that service into the box.
And Deleuze, it looks like, will pinch in place of Graham Smith. Final 5 or so minutes to play here in this one. Jose Aguinaga, the opening goal in the first half. The 9th assist of the season for Jared Stroud. He's tied for 2nd in the entire league. Daniel Rios scored in the first 25 seconds of the second half to bring his team level. The assist by Kanzoria. And then Lucas Stauffer right now has the winner. His 53rd minute goal, assisted by Jose Aguinaga, as we have another yellow card here. This one to Stauffer.
Well, I haven't agreed with a lot of the choices of the referee tonight. The one thing I can say is he's been very consistent. Anyone who's delaying the game, he's given a yellow card to very quickly.
So Stauffer and Caceres both picking up yellow cards for delaying the game. This one put on Lauro, the second chance put over the top. A miracle for New York Red Bulls too, that they are still ahead in this one.
And once again, it's, I mean, you know what's coming. The ball gets wide. Taylor whips in a great cross, a fantastic save there from Lauro. Here you see, I think it was Lomas connecting. Fantastic save there from Lauro, and then Shipolani finds himself wide open. And I don't think he realizes how much time he has. He kind of lunges and rushes at it. I think with Lauro on the ground, having already made that initial save, he could have even taken a touch and still got a shot off. But what an absolute fantastic opportunity there for North Carolina to tie this game up in the dying minutes of the match. And for Red Bull too, they're just hanging on at the moment.
And that may have been the opportunity there. Shipolani, as you said, had some time. Yanez falling asleep on that far post. Lauro sprawled out on the ground, and Shipolani just could not find the target. Now the attack coming again for North Carolina. Final seconds of regular time. Still waiting on the 4th official to show how much stoppage time there'll be, but you got to think with that injury / red card to Mines, with the 2 goals, with the controversies here and there, it's going to be at least 5 minutes. Shipolani now one-on-one with Yanez. Yanez got some help from Caceres. Shipolani gets to the end line. It's still alive. Lauro makes the first save, but can't keep it out. Right off the bench. Donovan Uwolo with the equalizer here in the 90th minute.
Absolute backbreaker for this New York Red Bulls 2 team. But man, T. Shipolani, that's what he brings. If he's faced up one-on-one, I said it as soon as he came in, if he's faced up one-on-one, he's not shy to run at his player. And I think initially his touch kind of was not the best, but he finds himself, he makes the right decision, cutting that ball back from the end line. And I mean, Evan Lauro, what else can you do? You make a fantastic initial save. And unfortunately for him, you know, I think his defenders are so used to him always bailing him out. But credit to North Carolina. They haven't given up. They haven't really changed what they were going to do. They saw that they were getting chances from getting the ball wide, putting good service into the box. And they continue to do that, and here they find themselves tied 2-2 with a couple minutes left. And Red Bull 2 is down a man too, so I mean they're gonna have at least one more chance, I feel like, in this game if for North Carolina.
It looked like Lomas and Rios got in each other's way, trying to finish the first opportunity. Laurel made that kick save as he came back across the goal. It knocked off of Stauffer and back into the path of Iwolo. As you said, still at least 4 minutes of time to play for North Carolina FC to try and steal 3 points on the road. Deleuze puts that one over the top towards Guillen, but just too long. And Hunter, whether it's man up or not, you watch what New York Red Bulls 2 did against Penn FC, Louisville City, and now North Carolina here at home. If you're coming in, you got to play direct. You got to get your big forwards in that box, whether it's from the back or from the wing. New York Red Bulls 2 really struggle with that.
Yeah, I mean, you said those are 3 games in a row there that, the recipe for success has been pretty similar for all their opposition.
North Carolina takes this one quickly. Cipollani trying to find Becker once again, but Caceres puts it off of him and out for a New York throw-in. For New York, this tie will move them up a spot in the standings, but isn't what they were hoping for. And right now, they're fingers crossed, trying just to hold on to the 1 point.
Yeah, and I was just about to allude to that because, I mean, not only is this an important game, but, you have this team a game in hand, 5 points behind you, and now they've just taken two more away from you. So this would be a huge result for Carolina to keep their playoff hopes alive, and definitely not one at home for New York Red Bull 2 that they would want, especially with how this game was going for them initially.
And Nashville and Indy 11 fans licking their lips at this result, as Nashville would fall 1 point behind New York and Ottawa, but have 2 games in hand on both those teams. Indy 11 would move into a tie with New York Red Bulls 2 for 7th, but they would have 2 games in hand on them and 3 games in hand on Bethlehem. Does North Carolina have a winner in them here in the dying moments of this one? Becker on the ball. Chance to look up and serve it in. Lomas gets a flick on. It's still alive. Guillen puts it back across the face of goal. Wolo with that acrobatic attempt, but it goes out.
And Guillen has to be way more patient there. That ball gets through the box after Lomas initially challenges. Guillen finds himself wide open there on the far post. He tries to put it straight back in with his left foot. Take your time, take a touch, draw one of those Red Bull 2 defenders out towards you, and you're probably going to find an open teammate inside the box.
Ball up the line here for New York Red Bulls 2. They led for much of this second half. Well, they conceded in the opening seconds. Stroud's offside here. But a mistake by Ben Mines, just minutes after coming on, picks up a straight red card in the 70th minute. And New York Red Bulls 2 were not able to hold the fort man up. Trying to just get a point out of this one. Now New York Red Bulls 2 a chance maybe to attack here. Stroud lays it off for Caceres. Up the wing here for Tenari. Tenari coming forward. He gets by 2. He and Stroud really alone on this attack. Now Caceres on the ball, clips it towards the far post. And that will be the final play of this one. North Carolina FC, a 90th minute equalizer as they steal a point on the road against 10-man New York Red Bulls 2. Hunter, this was an incredible second half of action.
Yeah, I mean, the second half from the initial 20 seconds was end to end, and it didn't stop until right there where Tenari's dribbling between 4, 5, 6 guys. Unfortunately, can't get a shot off, but definitely disappointing if you're a Red Bull 2 fan. A hard-earned point on the road for North Carolina.
North Carolina FC gets the result to close out this short away stand for them. And they walk away with 4 points from this. New York Red Bulls 2. They move up in the standings, and they will be in a tie for 6th place with Indy 11 and Bethlehem Steel FC, but not the result they wanted here at home before they head on the road against Charleston. Jose Aguinaga, the opening goal in the first half. New York Red Bulls soon not able to hang on. We'll have all your post-game coverage coming up here on ESPN+.
With MSG Go, the game goes where you go. So you can watch live Red Bulls games anywhere you want. It's free and easy because if you get MSG, you get MSG Go. Watch your favorite team wherever you are with MSG Go, presented by Lexus. Download it for free where you get your apps.
One of the nation's leading heart programs. A shared sense of compassion, innovation, and expertise. Perfectly orchestrated so your world never misses a beat. Hackensack Meridian Health. Life years ahead.
MSU Soccer Park, the site of a great one here. Tuesday night action in USL. David Goss and Hunter Freeman on the call for you on ESPN+. New York Red Bulls 2, a 2-2 tie against visiting North Carolina FC. Hunter, Evan Loro did all he could to try and get a result for his team, even after they went man down. He wasn't able to stand up to it in the end. Let's take a look at the highlights from this one. We were treated to a fun one out here today.
Little run right there through the middle of Tanari, attracts the defender, and a fantastic shot through the legs. I think Tambakis just a little bit late seeing that one. And then
we start this one at the kickoff to the second half because, Hunter, that's where it began.
Yeah, I mean, literally 20 seconds into the second half, Red Bull 2 doesn't even touch the ball. And not the way you want to come out when you have the lead at halftime, that's for sure. And once again, it was simple. Get the ball wide and service into the box. And, I mean, Rios, there wasn't a guy within 5-10 yards of him, and he's 3 yards out from the Red Bull 2 goal. So clearly some miscommunication, lack of concentration. And then here you see Stouffer with that fantastic finish. Good patience from Aguinaga at the top of the box. That first touch almost lets him down, but in the end almost sets him up for the little chip. And there you see the dance moves. The outside back hasn't found himself dancing like that in a while, so he needs to polish up on those for sure.
And then this was maybe the biggest moment of the game. Ben Mines and Connor Tobin getting into a little bit of an argument after that play. Mines gets a straight red card for that, and Loro stood up and made a lot of big saves, but couldn't keep them out in the end.
Yeah, again, the whole red card situation still puzzles me. Lost for words there, and credit to North Carolina because they kept getting at Red Bull the same way. Get the ball wide, 2, 3, 4 runners in the box, good service, and eventually they found that goal that they needed to get a point on this road tour that they're on.
We thought North Carolina would control possession in this one. At halftime, they were not, but in the second half, playing 20 minutes with a man up, they come out with a 55-45 margin of victory there. 14 shots to 11 for New York Red Bulls 2, but 7 shots on goal for North Carolina FC. For North Carolina, they got what they wanted, a point on the road. They stay within touching distance of the bottom of that playoff line for New York Red Bulls 2. They expected 3 points here.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're North Carolina, any team that comes in here against this Red Bull 2 team, if they can leave with a point, I think they'd be extremely happy. North Carolina having that key game in hand makes them even happier. And definitely for Red Bull 2, you're at home. You got to get 3 points. You didn't do it tonight. It's definitely disappointing.
An eventful one at MSU Soccer Park. New York Red Bulls 2 and North Carolina FC, a 2-2 draw here on ESPN Plus for myself, David Goss, and Hunter Freeman, and our head producer, Mike Demmel, and everyone involved. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great night.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League may not be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the express written consent of the United Soccer League.